We're doing a giveaway. It's not just another regular old BS giveaway, but it's a way to raise awareness to the Wild Sheep Society's Act Now campaign. We're giving away a Kifaru pack, a Whoopee, a Frontiersman gear knife, a full set of Sitka Storm front gear. Hell, we're even going to throw in some shirts and a hat from our store. The whole goal is to get people to be aware of the Act Now campaign and really send the message that our community wants wildlife to be managed by science, not by whoever celebrity is yelling the loudest. To sign up, get over to our Instagram @WildernessLocals and look for the photo of the sheep with the Act Now giveaway graphic. Get on it, folks. Let's make a difference. This is episode 46 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. On this episode, Wacedog does a Q&A with our buddy Aron Snyder. Aron is the president of Kifaru International and an all-around badass hunter. This podcast is brought to you by Kifaru International, the toughest hunting gear on the planet, bar none. Frontiersman gear, high quality, completely custom, handmade knives made in the heart of the Peace Country. And as always, we're brought to you by Just Shooting Arrows, BC's premier archery shop.
When Luke was at full draw at the wrong target, oh man, I about pissed my pants.
Oh, he's a trip.
It looks
back on. What the fuck are you aiming at? And I think it was 77 yards at a doe. And I'm like, Jesus, Luke. And I was wondering because he thought I'd missed it because I shot at the right target. And he's like, you didn't hit it. And I'm like, dude, I'm a 12. Well, it's because he was looking at the wrong target. He was about to shoot one 70 yards away.
That was the funniest shit I've seen in a while. I laughed. Amy looks like she's kicking ass out there too, eh? Just for a new archer, she's doing real good.
Yeah, she can shoot. She's real good.
That's wicked.
Okay, boys, I'm gonna bail off. Snyder, hey, before I bail, I wanted to say thanks for helping us out on that giveaway. I think it'll really help. I do really appreciate it, dude.
Oh yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, cool. Okay, boys, have fun. Try not to offend everyone.
All right. I've been drinking tonight. We're good.
Later, boys.
Yeah, see ya. What bow were you using out there today? Black Widow?
The Widow. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna use. I've changed things up a little bit, and I shortened my point on distance just because, I was so worried about distance when I first started shooting coming from the compound, and then I kind of log everything. Not everything. I log most of the shit I shoot, and most everything I've shot between 8 and 24 yards. So being able, because I gap shoot, so being able to have a closer point on is a lot more effective, especially on the 3D course. When I get out there at distance, it's harder, but when, rubber meets the road for applicable hunting shots, that 33, 34 yard point on is a lot handier. And I shoot the holy ever living shit out of that bow. So
yeah. And it's got more of a mass weight, eh? Like with the one thing with the Tolkien, I really like my Tolkien, but it's kind of hard to get mass weight with their bows. Like they're real light bows, but I shoot it okay.
Yeah. And I had it made out of G10, so it's real. And I like a heavy bow. So, when I say I like a heavy bow, like I really like a heavy bow. And I put that Flex Selway quiver on. I had a Great Northern, which I like that quiver too, but I put that Flex quiver on it from Selway, and it's just, like I said, I'm shooting good. I'm excited. I'm really not wanting to get my ass kicked by Daniel Collins. That kid can shoot, and he's coming out to that team shoot. So I'd really like to do well against him. He's a good kid. So.
Yeah, man. When you were shooting there at home the other day, like, I don't know many guys that can shoot a stick like that. You're dialed in right now.
Yeah, it's going good. I shot today. I think I shot a 171. So I held my own against the compound guys on 20 targets. So I started off with like 2 5s and an 8 because all the targets were 46 to 48 yards, and all my arrows were hitting on the 8-5 line straight low. Just get used to my gaps at those distances. But shit, the first target was 46, and I shot an 8.5 line straight low of the 12. Next target was 42, and I shot an 8 straight low of the 10. Next target was like 41, same thing. And then I got my shit together and just started tearing it up after that. But I shoot that bow really, really good. Again, get comfortable with something. That Widow is kind of like a old set of shoes, right? I can just grab it and shoot it. It just fits me. So.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I was jumping bows a lot there for quite a while, and it was hard to really get settled into something. So I had to start making some commitments to some different bows. But once you get dialed in with them, I think it's good to stay if you can.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We got a ton of questions, Snyder. I don't know if we're even going to get through them all. Do you want to just start hammering through those?
Yeah, just lay it on me, and I'll try not to lie to anyone too much.
I'll tell you what, man, I'm not much of a podcaster, but since I started doing this with Ty, if you want to find out what you're wrong about, just start a fucking podcast.
Oh yeah. And also, that people hear what they want. So you can be 90% right, but that 10%, they're going to tell you were wrong about the 10. They'll forget about the 90, but the 10 they're going to hear about.
Yeah, no, I've been getting it a little bit, but comes with the territory, I guess. So it seems as we're with bows. Somebody wants to know what your arrows are, and how you came to the point weight that you got. I think is what his question is here.
So for me, I've always tried to do 38 to 40 yard point on distance. So I kind of based my build off of that. And with this Widow, I wanted to scoop my point on distance in a little bit. And so when you do that, the longer your arrow is, because I'm using the tip of my arrow for my aiming device, that the longer the arrow, your closer your point on will be. So what I ended up doing with that Widow, the way those limbs fire, I was shooting before a 350 spine arrow with 300 grains up front, and I had it cut super short. So knowing that that with the 350 and had it cut short, that got me a 40 yard point on, I knew I could go to a 300 spine and have a longer arrow and get a 33, 34 yard point on. But I didn't want to have this massively heavy arrow. So I went from Black Eagle Vintages to X Impacts, which are lighter grains per inch. So I still had a relatively moderate weight arrow, meaning I didn't want to go over 600 grains. So I'm at about 580 grains. My arrow was about 1.5 inches longer than it was. And that got me closer to that 33, 34 yard point on distance. And I always shoot 100 grain components up front and 200 grain heads. So I knew I wanted 300 total. Well, I designed that Snyder core system. And with that, I just, shoot whatever it is, a 135, broadhead, and then, the basically the modified hit insert, whatever you want to call it, screwed into the back, and then the collar, which, actually it's not 135, I think it's 165, but anyway, it gave me total of 300 up front. So that's how I ended up with what I'm shooting and why, as far as arrows go. And then I shoot, 4 3-inch trad vanes, offset with helical, on them, right now, but I might try 3 fletch here soon, and see how it does. But right now I'm shooting 4 3-inch trad vanes.
So are you bare shafting or shooting through paper? What are you doing to?
Man, I don't mess with. I don't mess with paper tuning too much. I bare shaft. I get that real close as far as as close as I can, and then I fletch up some arrows, and then when I say I bare shaft tune, I fired at it, roughly 6 to 10 yards, see where it's hitting, left, knock right, knock high, get it pretty close, and then I fletch up arrows with the length that I cut to get the tune, when I'm bare shafting, and then I just fire them at 20, and I do some micro tuning after that. But I don't mess with paper too much.
No, I never was a paper guy either. I feel like if you can bare shaft and get it Well, who was on Dwayne Martin was on your podcast the other day, and I don't think he paper tunes either. Hey, he's just bare shafts.
Yeah, I think so from what he had said. And, everybody's got their own, system. So, I mean, whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll jump around a little bit. Somebody wants to know the Handwag, Alaska versus Yukon for early season hunts.
The Yukon's going to be better for early season. It doesn't have Gore-Tex, so it's going to breathe better. It's leather lined. Obviously, you're going to want to treat it every couple months, get some waterproofing on there. But being all leather, if you treat it, it's going to be fine, and it's going to breathe way better. Gore-Tex doesn't breathe real well, so that Yukon does better for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then another guy asked here with the Handwag Series 2 GTX, if it's a good boot for early season.
Probably not. When he says early season, that Series is more of a mountaineering boot. If you're talking early season mountain hunting, like, extreme mountain hunting, it's not a bad option. Probably the Zamberlan 2092 might be a little bit better than that one. But as far as just a straight up earlier season boot, you may want to go with a couple different options depending on your foot. One would be that Hanwag Makra. The other one would be the Storm from Zamberlan, one of those two. The Zamberlan has a little more wider foot box. So if you got a wide foot, that'd be better. If you got a little bit narrower foot box, the Hanwag's better.
How did you make out with them macros? They got the that Cordura on the side. Did that stand up okay when you were in Texas guiding?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You'll destroy it.
Yeah, because I had a pair. One of the most comfortable boots I ever wore had that kind of I don't know if it's even Cordura. I don't know what it is, but that synthetic material on the side, and they were super comfy boots. But man, I just tore the shit out of those boots.
Yeah, I probably go through 2 sets a year pretty easily. If I was in Texas, it'd probably be 3 with that cactus and the rough rock and everything. And mountain hunting's not too bad on them. But honestly, like I talk a lot about that 2092. When I go to mountain hunting, that boot fits my foot really well when I'm, doing a little bit more extreme crap. And I do prefer that one for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then here another guy asked ATS 65 versus ATX, if you're only going to run the 65 mil lens.
Yeah. Just the difference in optical clarity is minuscule, and most people wouldn't be able to see. So you'll get the ATS 65 cheaper anyway. You're not going to swap it out. I wouldn't get the other. It's going to save you money too. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And another guy says he wants to know if the Swaro, I don't know. I think it's a 95 spotter. If it's worth the weight. Man,
it really boils down to if you're a pussy or not. No, I'm just kidding, dude. That thing sucks to pack, but I pack it in on mountain hunts. But recently I went to an 85, and then I actually gave that to Scotty, and I got a 115, and I'm actually going to use a 115 or a 65. Because for us, it's either all or nothing, right? We're either way in or I'm hunting by the road. So I think like all around an 85 or 95 is a great idea. If you got the legs to pack it, it's definitely worth it. But worth is a relative term, right? If you can't hardly make it in without the spotter, then it's probably not worth it. But if you got good legs under you, I'd say it's definitely worth it to pack it, but certainly not going to hurt you to carry a 65. But again, if you're young, strong, and, weak mind and strong legs, I'd say pack the 95. And that's what I've been doing. And I haven't regretted it.
When you guys were in Southern Alberta, what were you guys using from the truck? Like kind of, was it a 95?
Yeah, I use a 95 and 15s. I'm not a big fan of that BTX. I think it's great if it's, works for what you do. But for me, 15s on a monopod and 95 either on a window mount or a tripod, like in Alberta. In the case of like me with that 150, that's one of the reasons that 115 just crushes everything. So in Alberta, I'd be running a 115.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no real downside to it, especially because it's also flat there anyway, right? So, and you're near the truck most of the time, but
even when they drop me to Luke's, it's nothing like a mountain hunt where I got 10 days of food and shit, right, and gear. I just got a day pack. So packing around, 25, 30 pounds doesn't bug me all day long in comparison to, 70 or whatever hiking in. So yeah, it doesn't make sense not to run it if you can afford it.
Are you going to try and make it up there this year if this stupid frickin' border thing opens?
Yeah. So my business partner that I bought Kifaru with, he has 6 tags in Alberta. So we're definitely going up there, if the border opens. So
I seen a thread on the line somewhere that Lee Lukoski bought in a bunch of mule deer tags around that same area too.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, that's what I read anyway. So, so someone wants to know what the best all around hunting knife is for you.
So for an interchangeable blade, I'm a big fan of that Taito. I designed one for him. It's not like this miraculous design. I just shortened up the handle of one so I could fit it in my chest rig. So I have that and like 5 blades in my bino harness. And then, there's a few different options that work, real well. I had a custom knife made that's really, really light from a Hammered and Spear. I've got several different fixed blades, but, either a really light fixed blade or like a foldable, like a Benchmade foldable knife that's really lightweight. I don't carry anything like a Prepper, a Doomsdayer, I don't carry any giant knives. Like I probably got 4.5 ounces of knives total. That's all I pack. And I can break down, as I can break down a moose with a Taito or a foldable knife. It may take a little extra work, but I don't need a saw or a hatchet or anything. So 3.5-inch blade will get me done on just about anything, that I need to do. And it's worth saving the weight for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I don't know. Like I seen Dudley was packing a hatchet for breaking down elk. I don't know what he was doing with it, but you can pretty much get away with any blade. I think.
He's hunting beside the road, man. He's not like getting after it. So, I mean, more, rub some funk on it, but I've had multiple people because of that ask me, and I'm like, he ain't packing that thing in backpack hunting. Nobody's carrying a hatchet backpack. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, I mean, literally that's like driving a semi truck through the fucking drive-thru to order a cheeseburger. Like, yeah, you can do it, but why? So a little knife will get you done, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. I got another question. Favorite hunting rifle and bullet or caliber?
Man, I am the wrong guy to ask for that. I've got a custom Viking Armament 6.5 PRC with an XLR chassis and a loophole scope. But that's the thing they're saying. Just an amazing rifle, but I am not the guy to ask about guns. There's plenty of guys way better than I am about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Avery.
Did you? I mean, hand me a 308, happier than a pig in shit, right? I can get within 200. Like I don't worry about the caliber. So, when you're used to hunting with a stick bow, it's not real hard to get within 200 yards, and even a 308 is fine at 200 yards. So it's not like I'm this long distance expert.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You should. I think most guys should be able to get in within at least a couple hundred yards of what they're hunting. Pretty easy. But so another question: what's the details on the timeline on the new Kifaru tarps and shelters?
Man, I hate to say. I mean, we have a date we've been given from the sowers after we approve this final design, but I hate to say because then people hear what they want and they'll say, "Oh, that's the date Aaron gave," when I said that's actually the date that I'd hoped for. So I'm not saying shit.
I seen on your live feed there was about 20 questions that exact same question people asked. So everybody's kind of prodding for info.
Yeah. I mean, we've been working on it. That was something Patrick didn't have a lot of priority on, and I was kind of left holding the bag. I mean, nothing against Patrick, but obviously once we bought it, we went to work on just some newer stuff little by little. We've got a couple that we're working on now, and obviously expanding even more, but I hate to give a date unless something goes sideways, especially with COVID, with the material we're using. It literally cuts the shelters down by half the weight, or at least 30% reduction in weight. But it's also hard to get. And so I hate to give a date in case some crisis happens and there's a shortage of material and I got to listen to people bitch about, oh, he said this. So like I said, I'm not saying shit. We're trying to come out with them real soon. That's as much as I'm going to say.
Perfect. That's all everybody needs to know anyway. I don't know if you're going to know this one as much, but recommend it, run and gun tree stands.
Man, I'm not a great guy for that either. I've always used Lone Wolf. There's a ton of different, great, like everybody calls, run and gun, or what the fuck is that other hang and bang, or I don't know what the fuck all white people, but Lone Wolf is what I've always used. I've had great luck with them. I've used some cheaper ones, but I really like Lone Wolf.
Yeah. Okay, got another question. The guy wants to know, just starting out with the stick bow, don't want to spend a lot of money on broadheads. What do you suggest?
Man, in which you can dive in on this one too. I think that Magnus Black Hornet is a good one. Simmons is a good one. The Magnus whatever Stinger, I think it's got 4 blades, is good. There's some good broadheads out there that, they may not be as durable as these higher end ones, but they're not bad. They're not horrible. They'll kill an animal. So those would be the ones I'd say. So Simmons, the Magnus Black Hornet, the Stinger or Snuffer, whatever. I think it's a Stinger actually. And, Werewolf makes another one that's not too bad, but I know what Wace. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Like shit, when I started, I think I was running a 3-blade G5 head, and I shot some game with that. But I think the biggest thing with guys is if you learn to sharpen them, if you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that'll make the biggest difference, because a lot of these heads come like they're sharp, but they're not really that sharp. No, they're not good. And I don't know, maybe they can't get that sharp, like not as sharp as an iron will, but I don't know. You could pretty much dive in. I would stay away from anything chisel point if possible. And like just, yeah,
I agree. And when, it's like chisel point, but just make sure it's a cut on contact head. That's an important part, and it's razor sharp, and learn how to sharpen, spend a little bit of money on some tools to get your crap sharp, and you'll be far ahead. So,
Okay, I'm going to butcher this freaking name. It's Hilleberg. Is it Anya Shelter?
On.
Yeah. Is that capable in BC, or stay with the Nalo?
It's capable until shit hits the fan. I've gotten trouble from Petra for running that thing, and shit probably shouldn't be. It'll do pretty. I mean, it takes a lot for that thing to, before you get into trouble, but the Nalo is definitely a better, safer, bet. Having said that, I mean, I'd say I can get away with the Onion in 80% of the time. The problem is when that 20% hits, do you have the field craft or to, keep it, one, erect, make sure you've got everything tied out correctly. And 2, if shit goes south, are you going to be okay? Because you push the issue. So I would say stick with the Nalo, but if you've got the money, it certainly wouldn't hurt to have both.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. I mean, yeah, I think too, a lot of guys don't understand like what the proper shelters for what kind of hunt you're going on too, right? With the terrain and what season it's going to be. So
yeah, that is a fact.
You can get screwed over real quick. So one guy wants to know, is there a better stove than the reactor? I had one die on a hunt.
A reactor?
Yeah.
No kidding. I've never had one die, but I don't, I don't think there's any stove better than the MSR reactor. And I give you an idea, that's the first one I've ever heard die. And I've heard of lots of other stoves, crapping out. So I strongly recommend that reactor to people.
Mm-hmm. How many tins of Copenhagen do you take on a 10-day hunt?
12 at a minimum.
Dude, I fucking love chewing snuff, but it's $32 a can up here. It's just like, I might as well be smoking drugs for that cost.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, and I mean, what do you guys pay for a can of Copenhagen down there?
$7. It was quite a bit less than that, but it's gone up, but $7. I've actually started chewing those Rogue, I don't know, it's like honey lemon packets, the 6 milligram ones. I chew 2 at a time, just to give my gums a break. And they're good. I mean, and if I got business meetings, crap like that, they're good. But yeah, I'm a chewing fool. So it's, it's not good. I mean, when I say not good, a can plus a day is not good, but it is what it is. And I mean, you got to work with what you got. So I'm taking a can plus a day, basically, for any backpack hunt.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it was more affordable because I'd still be doing it. We used to, when we would burn down to the States for different things, we would bring back a bunch with us, but that don't last very long. Right. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your go-to 10-day backpack and frame? Frame?
The Hoodlum or the Ma Deuce and the Duplex Light. I'm a huge fan of that Duplex Light, and in every way I test it, it beats the tactical frame. And I know some guys like that tactical frame, but I've packed out. Well, I got all kinds of shit because we were testing out some different parts and pieces, and I strapped the 318-pound sheep to the whole. I didn't even gut it because the truck was only like 300 or 400 yards away. I strapped that whole thing to that frame and packed it to the truck. So yeah, it's durable and it's comfortable. So yeah, I don't know how many keep hammering comments I got from that fucking post, but good God, it was a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine. People probably trying to explain to you how to butcher an animal.
Oh Lord, I mean, I was laughing because look, one, I'm not 8 miles in. 2, that no meat was wasted, right? Shot, died right there. No different than somebody sitting in a tree stand making a shot and waiting an hour. I mean, we waited 2 minutes, right? Time it took to get to it. And I said, hey, I need to test this frame out. So I'll just pack it to the truck hole. We'll get it down to the butcher table and get it in the freezer. So what people assume and the actual truth of it is amazing because I'm a trophy hunter and I don't care about the meat and I'm an idiot because I don't know how to quarter it or debone it. And it's like, guys, I design and test packs for a living and people do this. Like people are like, why don't you just test it with weights? Well, because our customers strap entire animals to our fucking backpacks. So we try to do the same thing to test stress points. So I get it, I understand where people are coming from, but that's the best way. That's the most awkward load you can get to try to snap something in half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You got to put it to work. I know you packed like that picture of you with that moose. It was a moose, the whole head and the antlers. I mean, that had to have been, God, I don't even know how much that would have weighed, but it looked painful.
I did that on a bet with Clay. We were, you know how long it takes to scone out a face of a moose, right? So I didn't want to fuck with it with those bugs. And I was like, man, I'll just pack it up where the helicopter can come grab it. And he's like, oh, you can't make it. And I'm like, the fuck I can't. Well, I guess at that point I had to prove it and he wasn't going to let me get out of it. So there I was packing it to the flat ground up above. So
was he in camp? Was he there with you the whole time or did he take off or were you guys like in camp the whole time you're guiding?
No, we were together the whole time.
Yeah, he's a pretty fun guy to hang out with, I bet, eh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're like brothers. I mean, he's one of my closest friends. He's super funny. Yeah, just a wealth of knowledge too. And it's not like he's the kind of guy that I like because you need people to ground you in life. If you surround yourself with people that tell you you're awesome all the time, pretty soon you're going to think you can't make a mistake. Well, believe me, you hang out with the Lancasters. I mean, they've literally had me and to me again when you don't suck. I mean, it's good to keep you grounded, right? And Clay will definitely keep you grounded. And he's just a wealth of knowledge too. Great guy to learn from and great guy to hunt with. Just unbelievable dude.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. We want to try and get him back on again, but I don't know. We'll see how it's hard with everyone's schedules. Everybody's busy, right? So.
Yeah. I've been lucky. I've got to hunt all over, them from up there and all over in Canada, Mexico. I mean, it's any time that I can make it and he asks me to come, I'm coming. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. So this is a 2-part question. He wants to know who do you think the best hunter and who do you think the best houndsman of all time is North America?
Man, I'd have to say houndsman would probably be Bart Lancaster. At least one of the top. And I'm not like up on all my houndsmen, but I have to say Bart's definitely, he's up there in the top from anyone that I know. Hunter, I don't know. Houndsman's probably easier to me to dissect just because of the fact of the dogs and the training and everything else. But I mean, how do you take a guy like Jimmy John, who's killed more than you and I'll ever think of, but he's moneyed his way in. Mm-hmm. Then you take a guy hunting public land every year, shooting 145-inch bucks. Well, it may only be a 145-inch deer, but that dude's pretty fucking skilled if he's shooting shit every year in the 145 to 160 range, right? So I hate when people ask that, who's the best hunter. I give you a list of guys who are really good, but you take a guy that's pretty good on public land and you give him an unlimited budget, I bet he's going to be real fucking good by the time he's done because he's got money. And so is somebody, I'm not going to mention names, that's known as an extremely good mule deer hunter with an unlimited budget, that good of a mule deer hunter, or is it the budget? And would a lesser mule deer hunter on public land be better than him if he had the same budget? So it's pretty hard to answer that question.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's a tough one because it's hunting is one of them things like money can get you in, right? Like you said, you were on a hunt one time, you had to push some guy up the mountain to shoot his sheep or whatever. And it's just, he probably could have never got that done without somebody holding his hand. So, but he's probably got a bigger trophy room than I'll ever have. So
I can tell you, I've seen it. It's fucking bigger than yours and mine multiplied by 5. But I tell you what, he ain't what the fuck is a hunter.
Yeah. So somebody wants to know how many guns you own and do you see yourself ever hunting with a rifle again? I think you do hunt with a rifle a little bit once in a while, hey?
Yeah, I'll grab one occasionally. It's for me, it's like it's just about the hunt, right? So I am a very dedicated, obviously traditional guy. But if somebody says, "Hey, you want to run out east and whack an antelope," and it's rifle season, I'm not going to grab the stick for the greater good of traditional archery. It doesn't bother me to whack something with the gun. I mean, obviously 95 to 99% of my hunts are with a traditional bow, but it doesn't bother me to whack an animal with a gun occasionally.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Hunt as much as I can with the bow, and then if I'm running out of time, sometimes I'll pick up the rifle, right? Oh yeah. I mean, when in Rome, right? If guy invites me down on a gun hunt, and I don't know, like I shot that mule deer with Luke last year. When I grabbed the bow out of the back of my truck, it was a private land only tag, but the deer jumped a fence from public to private. And you know how it is with game wardens. I didn't want to shoot the animal and have it jump the fence. And Luke was in agreement. Like, it's not worth it to, if I hit it and it ran 400 yards onto public land, next thing you know, we're explaining and trying to show a blood trail. And, it's a small piece of private. So I just whacked it with a gun, and it's not like I had any hard feelings over that. I didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's the right choice. You don't want to. I've heard lots of stories that went south like that before up in this country too. So Would you do a hunt off of mules, horses to take a break from hiking?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, when we move to Wyoming, we're probably going to get pack goats just to lighten the load a little bit. The only reason I don't fuck around with horses now is I'm not worth a shit with them. I don't know anything about them really. I mean, they got 4 legs and they take where you want to go. After that, I'm not worth a fuck. So, but yeah, I mean, I've done a couple drop camps. It wouldn't bother me at all. I'm certainly not a cowboy and I'm not going to buy horses, but I mean, if it's applicable and makes sense, I'll get dropped off by horses, but I'm probably going to get pack goats just cause they're easy for, my wife and I to maintain. They'll cat pack 30, 40 pounds and, you don't have to take great care of them. Just screw a stake in the ground, let them eat the fuck out of everything around. I don't have to actually feed them because I'm not a good grown up. So the pack goat thing's probably the way I'm going to go. But yeah.
Does South own those llamas, or does he like rent them off somebody?
I think he owns them.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I don't want to mess with, llamas or whatever in comparison, they can't carry that much more than a pack goat. I mean, they can carry more, don't get me wrong, but the pack goats are kind of like pets anyway. So, you fuck around with them in camp and I mean, honestly, solo, I don't mind talking to a goat if it keeps me, there's going to be some memes made of that comment. I'm going to be talking about making sweet love to a pack goat, but, you stake them down. They eat all the shit around you in a 12-foot circle, move the stake and fuck around with them at night. And they'll carry, like I said, 30, 40, 50 pounds or whatever. So I'd rather deal with that than trying to fuck with a llama.
Yeah. Horses can be a pain in the ass too. When I was younger, we did a sheep hunt and all of our pack horses and mules went back 2 days back to the truck and the trailer. So we had quite the adventure to get them back all up to camp. So I know all about horses. It can be a pain in the ass sometimes.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Is the NL Pure 12x42 worth money?
Yes, without a doubt. That, to me, I mean, obviously, if you've got the money, that's the best optic by far ever made. And very rarely do I say best, like truly best. That optic is the best. I mean, I have the 12x42. My field of view is wider than my 15x56s. They're lighter weight than, other, 10x42 options that I've used. So yeah, I'd say, yes, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. They're pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
I'm bouncing all over. I should have had these organized a little better. What's a good non-Hilleberg 2-man tent?
Big Agnes Copper Spur's a good one. MSR Hubba. Black Diamond's got a couple really good ones. I can't remember the name. Same with Rab. The biggest thing is when people ask me what's the best pack, not a Hilleberg, is it the weight or the money is the big thing I ask, because when you compare spec for spec to another 4-season tent, they're actually the same weight. So if it's the money, you just need to know that you're getting a lesser durable fabric and things like that. But if you're not camping in sheep or goat country, or just in elk country, something like a Copper Spur or a MSR Hub will be fine. And they're, $400 or something. So.
Yeah. Yeah. One guy asked, should I buy a Maudus? I think you should say, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yes, you should.
Maudus or Hoodlum skid bag too.
Yeah. Those are the two big ones. And the Hoodlum. Yeah.
Yeah. They're wicked bags. One guy asked, do you ever see yourself shooting wood arrows? I'm pretty sure I know the answer on that.
That's hard no. Negative.
I'll tell you what, man, if you want to piss some people off, talk about wood arrows, because there's some freaking loyal people with wood arrows. I know that.
The thing that I get out of is, I don't, I'm kind of a live and let live guy to a certain degree, like if you want to shoot wood arrows, I think you should shoot wood arrows. If you want to shoot carbon arrows, you should shoot, carbon arrows. But I don't know that there's an argument that a wood arrow is more consistent or easier or more durable or better in any way than a carbon arrow, other than maybe the nostalgia, or that's what you're used to. I get that, where you want to stay more traditional. I get that too. But after that, I mean, carbon arrows are winning in every category. And honestly, it's hard enough to kill shit with a stick already. Adding wood arrows to the mix for me right now is certainly not something I want to dive into.
Yeah, same boat for me. Exact same boat. One guy wanted to know if you're still running the clicker on your bow.
Yeah. Yep. I run either a strap-on Selway, or right now I got that flex system, which I really like from Selway on the Widow. Great Northern's a good one. And then a lot of times, especially depending upon how much of a target-rich environment it is, I run that Safari Tough back quiver. A lot of times tournaments, I'll run that back quiver. Around the house, if I'm firing broadheads, a lot of different angles walking around, I don't want to be jamming, broadheads back and forth in my bow quiver. I use that Safari Tough a lot for that as well. I tried not running a bow quiver. It's just not for me. Too used to grabbing arrows off the bow.
Yeah, same. I bounce around a little bit too, but one guy wants to know the Zoleo or the Garmin InReach.
Man, that Zoleo has been kicking ass so far. So it's less than half the price, and the monthly deal's a little less than half for the monthly unlimited plan. So, I mean, if you're just using it for communication, the app works real well. I would say go with the Zoleo. It's $150 and it's worked great so far.
Yeah, that Zoleo. So if your phone has service, it'll switch back and forth. I think.
Yeah, that's what they had told me. Now I've only used it where I don't. But yeah, that's the general concept of it. Then you're not burning your minutes up or whatever, your usage or your data or whatever.
Yeah. One guy wants to know the best spot and stock tactics for black bear.
That's a pretty broad question. Go ahead, man. You've killed as many of them fuckers as I have.
As long as you got the wind and you're not making too big of movements, you can get pretty close. You get in the red zone on them guys, I don't know, 80, 60 yards in the end, they get pretty cagey, but you can cut that pretty quick. Like you can get that as long as you got the wind.
Yeah, I've had good luck wearing black too. I know guys have said that's stupid, but I wear a black fleece and a black beanie. And especially when it's real open terrain. Lander watched me stalk. There were 7 different bears in a field, and I stalked actually through several of them to get to the one I was trying to kill by wearing black and moving real slow. Some people are against the black thing. I get it, whatever. I wouldn't be fucking around wearing black in rifle season, that's for sure. But they can't see overly well, so like I say, they can get a little sketchy when you get super close. You don't make any sudden movements, keep the wind in your face. I mean, black bear are one of the easier animals I've found to stalk, especially on deactivated logging roads where, they're eating grass and especially when they get in a rut and they're just walking with their face into the wind. Biggest trouble I've had on some of those is just catching the fuckers when they're trying to catch up. They caught the wind of a sow, or they're just moving around a lot trying to find a sow. But I don't know what you think, but I'd say black bears are one of the funner and better animals to stalk.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a fun hunt for me. It's because it's no pressure, right? Like it's not like a 180-inch mule deer bedded. I don't know. I have a lot more fun with black bears. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is, as frequent as or infrequent as people see black bears because of just walking around or not black bear. When you black bear hunt, you see a lot more black bears, even here in the States when you're in the high country and they're eating grass, getting their systems working again after they get out of the den. But, you blow a stock on a black bear a lot of times in your good area. It's not your last chance. Where you blow a stock on a 180 mule deer, that may be it, right? That may be the last time where, with a black bear, I've had pretty good luck blowing a stock and, getting back on even that same bear within a day or so.
Yeah. One guy wants to know with the predator decoys, if you had a hard time learning to shoot through with that on your bow. I think that's what he's asking here.
Not learning to shoot through with it on my bow, but I tell you what, you want to have an exit strategy when it's windy. So what I started doing is I made a handle for it. And if I'm going in and using it for cover, I may actually drop that bastard right before the shot if it's windy. And again, you just lesser, pick the lesser of a few evils. Like obviously I prefer it on my bow, just so they're not maybe as cagey when you go to full draw. But if it's between that and shooting it with a kite stuck on your bow, I've got a handle where I hold my riser and hold the decoy, and I can still make the shot holding it. But a lot of times, literally, I'll drop it and make the shot just when it's windy. But it didn't take any time to get used to shooting it with it on my bow.
Yeah, I just got one of those. I had it on. I was messing around with it. I didn't think it was that too terrible, but I had talked to Lander about it too. For Southern Alberta muleys there, and he had said that in the wind it might be a little bit tricky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, another guy wants to know if you switch how many arrow quiver you have from whitetail hunting to like spot and stock.
No, did you say do I switch how many arrows in my?
Well, like, do you go from a 4 arrow quiver like tree stand hunting, or like a 6 arrow on spot and stock?
No, I'm loaded up heavy all the time. A minimum of 5, but generally 6. And honestly, if I could throw 7 on there, I probably would.
Yeah, 100%. One guy wants to know what's your favorite bino harness and rangefinder holder.
The marsupial gear would be one of the top. The ADAC and the Sitka would be my top 3, and then probably after that would be the T&K is not bad, and the Alaskan Guide Creations. A lot of it's really personal preference on what each person likes. Like the Sitka gear has a giant pocket for the rangefinder. Some guys like that. If it the rangefinder kind of falls down deep in there, where, with the marsupial gear, depending upon where each rangefinder you have, I actually got mine super wet and wedged a bunch of crap in it to flex it out so I get the rangefinder in and out easier. But yeah, I'd say marsupial's probably my favorite, and then that ADAC and Sitka right behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree for sure. I haven't owned the Sitka one, but I think it looks pretty good. Another guy wants to know on your bison hunt, what was your bow and arrow broadhead combo setup?
So I shot the thing 4 times through the lungs, all 4. But so I was shooting Black Eagle Rampage with 300 grains up front. I shot it with an iron wheel wide, an iron wheel 3-blade, and a standard cutthroat. Got pass-throughs on all of them. I was shooting 57 pounds with, I believe, a 590 something grain arrow. And I was shooting Hoyt Satori with the Urbis limbs, and I was shooting about 188 feet per second.
Ben, bison are hard to kill from what I've ever heard of guys talk about.
Yeah, I hit it all 3 times, 4 times. I hit it 4 times in the lungs. And man, I think I hit it a 5th time on the run in the ass, actually running like crazy, just trying to get another arrow in it, which I probably shouldn't say that out loud. But yeah, their heart doesn't pump very much, and they got a lot of blood. It takes a long time for them to die.
Yeah. I've heard some stories with some guys hunting them things. We had a hunt in northern Alberta. It used to be a lottery draw kind of thing, and then the numbers were too low and they took it away the last few years, but I'm hoping it comes back because I'd like to get in on that. I've had some buddies go up and kill some nice bulls out of that herd.
Yeah.
And I got another guy who wants to know if you've ever tried hunting mountain goats with a white suit or white whatever. Guiding. Yeah. I've guided it. It works. I would suggest at least having a sheet that you makeshift into something to throw over your body. But, a lot of the times it's crazy. If you get in a white
shoot and they're 300 yards away and you just got on a ridgeline and sit there, they'll gradually work towards you.
Yeah. And you just kind of just like hang around, act like you're feeding or something, and they'll just walk into you.
Yep, exactly. Although you look like an idiot on all fours, walking around or kneeling around, but it works.
Yeah, that's awesome. Someone wants to know, how many oddad have you killed with your stick bow?
7. 7 spot and stock.
Yeah. Them things too, like, forget what anybody thinks what Texas looks like. Just go ahead and watch some of Aron's videos of that country. That is some rugged country. I get a kick out of guys that come down there that have a preconceived idea, and then they just get their asses handed to them for 5 or 6 days doing 8-9 miles up cliffs and shit. Yeah. Someone wants to know, what's your favorite species to bow hunt?
Mountain goat and mule deer.
Yeah. Mountain goats. I've heard you say that before. Sounds like a good time too. We're going this year, so hopefully we can tag up on a few.
Yeah, it's a kick in the ass.
Yeah, and then just we just got a bunch of questions, smart ass questions. I'm probably not going to read those. But what do you got planned for this year? And what hunts are you looking forward to this year?
100%. That I know we're going on because of the border. I'm not sure, but Alaskan caribou, Alaskan mountain goat, Idaho black bear, Colorado mule deer, Colorado elk, Colorado antelope, Oklahoma and Texas whitetail. Obviously, I'll guide for Aoudad for 3 or 4 months. I'll probably shoot another bison, which isn't really much of a hunt. It's more, I want the meat and it's fun to broadhead test. And I'm missing a few in there, but yeah, let's see. I'm probably get a whitetail in Mississippi with Levi. Arizona mule deer, both in 2021 and 2022, because I stay down there and hunt the end of December to January. Anyway, so yeah, quite a bit. Yeah.
This border thing's kind of chapping everyone's ass right now. I got some outfitter buddies up here that are trying to get everything lined out, and I don't think it's going to open, but who knows at this point.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. So,
yeah, because I even talked to Rod Jenkins the other day, and we're trying to line up some schools up in Alberta and BC, and and he's like, "Well, when do you think?" And I said, "Well, it all depends, I guess. I don't know when, so we'll have to see." But nobody can do anything where everybody's just kind of stuck, right? So.
Yeah. Everybody's pretty much in the same boat.
I got some more boot questions. I don't know if I asked. One guy wants to know, what's your favorite boot? That's pretty broad. I don't know. You could say, what's your favorite? What's your favorite mountain boot? What's your favorite flatland boot, I guess? Probably
my favorite flatland boot, I'm going to list a few, would be a Zamberlan Ball Toro, the Hanvog Tatra. Intermediate would be like a Makra or the Hanvog, the Makra, and then the Zamberlan Storm, and then heavyweight would be the Zamberlan 2092.
Yeah. And what's your kind of go-to mountain boot? Oh, did you say that, Zamberlan?
92.
Yeah. One guy wants to know, what's your go-to knife sharpener in the backcountry? But I think you just said you do replaceable blades, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't bring one with me in the field. I got a little handheld, like Benchmade thing that I use for broadheads and knives to touch them up. But the Work Sharp system is what I use at home. So,
one guy wants to know, he's having problems fletching his trad vanes to his arrow. What's your method to get them to stick?
Man, it depends on what jig he's using, but the one thing people have to understand is the jigs aren't overly accurate. So sometimes you got to file a little bit on the clamp to get an even stick. Otherwise only parts will touch. So I'd say that's probably the number one reason is get a file out and, make sure that you got good contact all the way through with your clamp.
Yeah. We might as well throw this question in too. One guy wants to know if you've ever used the Arizona Easy Fletch.
I have, but it's been a while. But I just ordered 3 of them to try out. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna order 2. I've been using this freaking boning tower jig last few years, but it's been okay. And I had the same jig you used too, and I used that for quite a while too when I started. But yeah, I'm interested in that Arizona Easy Fletch too. I know they get a lot of good reviews. If this border stuff does open, I want to get you guys up and do some hunting for sure.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, the border, right? I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not the best. Cool, man. Well, we might as well end this thing, I guess. And thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, no problem at all. Anytime.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave us a review. If you want to support the podcast, please check out the gear on our website at wildernesslocals.net.